Full shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only a few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Big up, people. What's going on, man? We're back in the building. Make sure you smash the like. Make sure you, of course, you share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I was going to do this as a live. I even scheduled it to put it down. I didn't get to watch the game as it happened. So, of course, I spent my Saturday evening, and it's still Saturday evening now as I record this. I spent it just watching the full 90 minutes because I really wanted to see, you see stuff on the timeline. I've spoken to a few people, big up to those who I spoke to, just to kind of, gauge what I respect what they say. So I just like to know, because sometimes when you watch or when you read social media, it's just people waffling half the time. So I said, you know what? Let's actually listen to what people have to say. But then I said, let me actually watch the game. And when I watched it, because everything is still clear in my mind, I don't really want to wait until, the Monday when I was actually going to do, this live stream. And I think, on Monday, hopefully we'll just talk about, something else, in and around Liverpool Football Club. But I said, yeah, let's just kind of get into it, man. Let's get into it. Obviously match reaction for Liverpool's first game of the season against Ipswich. Arne Slot's first game for Liverpool in the Premier League. I think it's the first time that two managers since 2017, I believe, is when they said. I think it was Frank de Boer, and I can't remember who the other guy was. The first time two managers have faced off against each other, and it's their first. I think it's like their first game in the Premier League itself. So a bit of history for both teams. Ipswich, last time I think Liverpool faced them was back in like 2002 or something like that. This is when Ipswich actually were a Premier League fixture. I think I remember them finishing in the UEFA Cup. I feel like they finished in those kind of competitions, but yeah, that's a kind of little trip down memory lane. But yeah, to the game. As you can see, of course, Liverpool won 2-0. It was an interesting, as I said, I think I said this numerous times about Liverpool this season, and I think the Premier League as a whole, from what we've seen this weekend so far, I haven't even got to the City Chelsea game, so that might be even more interesting. But yeah, from what we've seen so far, it's been an interesting start to the Premier League season. At the time of this video, I've seen Manchester United win, Arsenal win, Newcastle and a couple of others obviously get the victory. But yeah, with Liverpool, it was I'll give my rating for the game in itself at the end. And of course, we'll go through my player ratings as well. So of course, that's going to be back this season. But yeah, in general, I think it was an okay game. Obviously, listen, and we'll talk about it in a sec. Of course, like the first half, I thought was kind of crap. I felt like Ipswich were the better team. So, they'd probably be a little bit more upset that they didn't go in ahead, if I'm being honest, in that first half. Second half, Liverpool were the better team. The quality, as always, quality shines through. Not so much about the football in itself. The goals were good. But it was more about the quality of the players that we had, in my personal opinion. Again, there were maybe a few changes, but I don't think there was anything massive that I really saw that made me think, oh my goodness, again, like I say, outside of the goals. And to be honest, it was only really the first goal from Diogo Jota. I felt that was like, oh my goodness, yeah, this is some real good football. But yeah, outside of that, I thought, it was one of those kind of performances. First game of the season, so I can give it a bly. First game under a new manager. I'm not gonna ridicule or anything like that, and I don't need to, because ultimately Liverpool got the victory and we got 3 points, right? But as per usual, me, I always have to see the improvements. I need to see, where can we improve, and I'm always going to nitpick regardless. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Until I see us lifting the Premier League trophy, I'm definitely going to be nitpicking. So if you don't like it, this ain't going to be the kind of stream for you guys. But obviously, let's first look at the lineup. There was a couple of surprises in there. There was a couple of surprises. Not the I'd say the biggest one would have to actually be the fact that Robertson played. Now, I know myself included, quite a lot of us, we did our predicted lineup and stuff like that. I don't think anybody had Robertson in the predicted lineup, which I found kind of interesting. But obviously, that was probably just more because Tsimikas has actually played during this preseason. So to me, it made perfect sense as to why he would be the one to kind of miss out. But ultimately, when you look at the lineup there, he's in the lineup. You know what I mean? First game of the season, he's there. And it's kind of a somewhat familiar, obviously, Jarell Kwanzaa in there for Konate, which again, I think we all had Jarell Kwanzaa in there for various different reasons. But again, also for the sheer fact that he's actually been here. And I think maybe even, I can't remember fully, but I'm sure Slot alluded to that in regards to why he would have started Kwanzaa over Konate, whether that means that Konate would be the one that he's going to go to, for the future. Again, we will see in that next game. But I think one of the big things and one of the bigger talking points, of course, was the whole Joe Gomez situation. It wasn't even in the squad, which is actually super crazy. You can see here Fabrizio obviously posting it out. Liverpool confirmed Joe Gomez not in matchday squad today. He's looking at options for the final 2 weeks of the summer transfer window. So obviously, straight away, everyone's like, right, okay, that because I thought that was weird. To be honest, when I saw the lineup, obviously I'm not watching the game, so I'm looking to see who's starting. And then I saw the lineup itself. I thought, okay, Robertson, yeah, that's going to be something that I'm definitely looking at. But fairs. But what was looking at the bench, and then I don't really see a Joe Gomez in there. And then I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, what's kind of going on here? Do you know what I mean? But listen, there's clearly a reason for that. Clearly, it looks like he might go, and of course, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a separate stream, in itself. But I found that was probably the only real interesting part. Outside of that, other than that, the rest of the team was how I didn't pick that team. I had Elliott starting in there instead of Gravenberch, but it was the team I thought he was gonna, kind of go with. Again, outside of Robbo, everything else kind of, was the same. But listen, look, first half. I think that's probably best place to start, because the game was literally a game of two halves, literally. That first half, I don't even understand. And I think Slot even said it after the game, which, by the way, like I say, listen, he's only just come, so maybe he's just trying to sweeten everybody up. But I'm liking how blunt and just straightforward he is when he talks. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of just be honest. Sometimes I get it, managers will say things that you think to yourself, did we just watch the same thing? Like, are we all looking at the same kind of game? Because that's not what happened. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, unless you've seen something, obviously you are the manager, you've got a lot more experience than we do as fans. But are you seeing something different? But he just told it as it was, in terms of how the game actually went, which is Liverpool first off, he was not happy with. He really wasn't. He didn't sound like it anyway. But anything he said in regards to it, it didn't sound like he was happy with it. And me too. I watched that first half. You can see here, these are the first half stats. They had 4 shots at goal. We had 3 no big chances from either team. Alisson had to make 2 saves in the game. We had more corners and passings and passes and all that kind of stuff. But I looked at the tackles again here, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, they were making more tackles. They were more aggressive. And I think we spoke about this in my preview, where I showed you guys, if you go back and watch the preview, and I showed you guys the way like that Ipswich have been playing over the last 2 seasons. High turnover. They're very good at pressing the ball. They're good at trying to win the ball in high areas. So they're going to harass you. They're going to make you feel uncomfortable. And that's exactly, in my opinion, what I felt that they were doing. It was just, Jesus Christ, man. Honestly, that the midfield were basically, you may as well not have had a midfield. I didn't even, what's the point? And again, this is the funniest thing, because a lot of similar traits. To be honest, this game, for me, in totality, was very similar to performances I saw last season. Individuals bailing you out, defensive structure not really there. Looks like we were just kind of all over the gaff. Especially, of course, obviously second half it got better, but in that first half, that's exactly what it felt like. It just felt like the patterns weren't really that. We weren't even playing his type of football, which was even more confusing considering I know this is a competitive game. I know it's the Premier League and preseason, and this is why you can't take too much from what you take, from preseason. But in the preseason in itself, what we saw was the type of football that we thought, okay, cool. You know what? We're going to take that into the game. Obviously, things may change in terms of it working or not working, so to speak, but let me at least see it. And I didn't see that in the first half. Outside of obviously trying to pass out from the back and stuff like that, which to me, it just wasn't working because of the way that, Ipswich were pressing and stuff like that. It just really, 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 really wasn't working, man. Like they were just a better team, man. Honestly, all round, like I was impressed. But then again, I wasn't too shocked. Speaking to fans of championship teams, they told me about Ipswich. They told me about, yo, be easy with Ipswich. You know what I mean? Like, we've got better quality, so we should just pop them. But and I heard everyone's predictions: 4-0, 5-1s, 6-0, and I saw a couple like 3-0. I was like, fairs. I mean, I had 2-1 to be fair, so I was only a goal off, and it's because they're a good team, especially at their ground, home game, first game of the season. They're going to be up for it, and they were for a full 45 minutes. But as per usual, then comes in the second half of the game. And when the second half of the game comes in, you can see here Liverpool kind of up the tempo a little bit more. We're having more shots at goal. Their keepers having to make more saves. Passing, kind of still the same. Tackles are still the kind of relatively the same. But again, context of those tackles, again, I'm looking at that and it's more they're making last-ditch tackles as opposed to before. It wasn't really like that. It felt like they were just better than us in every single area. So the tackles are not even necessarily last-ditch tackles. They're just tackles, whether it's in the middle of the park, whether it's further up, etc., etc. Players not, necessarily, getting to the ball and etc., etc., all that kind of stuff. And yeah, second half definitely was, it was a marked improvement. But again, like I said, very familiar, very like the game was no different to a game that I've seen last season. Like I said, outside of Diogo Jota's goal and maybe a couple, and I do mean I'm stretching it, but I'll give it about two that I can remember were instances in terms of patterns of play. It was just like a game I saw on the clock last season. So I was just like, and me, last season I wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling all of that. I'm starting to see Van Dijk spray the ball out to the right. I was like, yo, I don't want to see none of this season, bro. I don't want to see that at all. I don't want to see you guys revert back to what we were doing before. I don't want to see that, bro, because I don't like that football. Don't like it at all. And it's not sustainable, as we saw with last season and as we've seen in previous seasons. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But listen, it's only the first game. So like I said, I don't want to kill it and kill these lot with it. But I just wasn't, too happy, in my personal opinion, in totality, really and truly. And I think there definitely needs to be a marked improvement, because I said it to someone, today, earlier on today, about the game. If this had been like Brighton, and I'm not even going to use the old, if it was a Manchester City or Arsenal, forget that. If it was Brighton, Liverpool lose that game easily. Definitely. We score goals, but we definitely lose the game. If we played the exact same way we did against those kind of teams, even a Palace, I think Liverpool lose the game. And that kind of tells you, everything that you kind of, need to know. Obviously, Salah, of course, 9th season in a row, opening day goal. We'll talk about Salah anyway, but what more is there to even say? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, what more can we say about Mo Salah? You feel me? People try to doubt him and this, that, and the third. Yeah, Salah's this and Salah's that, and yada yada yada, and all of this kind of stuff. And I was just like, Salah. Like I said before, if you guys are watching my will Liverpool be able to compete this season, my expectations and stuff like that, you'll see what I spoke about Salah, and I already done said. He's the only player I think in the whole team that you just need to find a place for him in the team. That's it. Best attacker, world-class player, always going to give you what you need. You just figure it out. You as a manager have to find a way to get him in the team, and everybody else is going to have to just work around it. Now, I'm not saying he's like Messi or anything like that, of course not. But in our team, in terms of the importance, because Liverpool's attack was absolutely rubbish outside of him. If he isn't on the pitch, I'll be surprised if Liverpool scored today. I'll be so surprised if Liverpool had scored without Salah on the pitch. Needed him, goal and assist, but it was just his overall play. I felt like it wasn't like amazing or anything like that. So I'm not going to do the old going over the top stuff. it was just purely about causing, their fullback, a problem. Even if it doesn't even, and this is why I say always got to watch the games, right? Because it's not even about trying to get past his. No, he didn't need to do that. He was causing problems to their full. I can't remember his name, but he was causing problems to their fullback just by being there in space. Fullback was on toast. He was shook. You could see it from a mile off. Absolutely shook. And I was like, yeah, of course you're shook, because you don't want Salah bearing down on goal. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Whereas, Diaz and Jota, I was just like, you lot are just Mr. Jinky Majinky doing all the fancy stuff and just wasting opportunities and stuff like that. But listen, that's neither here nor there. Obviously, you can see here the average position of the kind of team. We were very narrow, very, very narrow in this game, I did think. And usually in games that we've seen, Salah's usually like the furthest forward in this. He wasn't, well, as you can see here, it was kind of the entire front three. And then of course you can see we are actually really playing that kind of double, not double pivot, but like a lone six more often than not. And Szoboszlai and McAllister were kind of filling in at times. So there weren't really like a set double pivot. It was kind of Gravenberch would just be there. Maybe if he bombs forward a bit, one of the two, or the Szoboszlai and McAllister, depending on which side of the ball which side of the pitch, that Gravenberch is on, one of the two would then decide, okay, maybe I sit or maybe I drop or whatever the case may be. Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but ultimately, to me, it felt like he was just playing that six by himself. I don't know if that could have been one of the reasons why the first half just passed the entire midfield by, because it just seemed like we were getting situations where it would be like we had like four in there at times, and but they had like five or they had like six players, and we were just getting outdone just by numbers, not even just by play. It was just numbers. Obviously, more numbers is more often than not going to win, especially in the kind of pressing situation, and that's what I felt was happening quite a lot. You can see it here just in terms of the average positions and stuff like that. As I said, Gravenberch kind of in there near that center circle, dropping in every now and again into that center back slot, kind of doing his thing. Robertson kind of pushed up high and wide, same as Trent. Trent was more cut in. Kwanzaa was kind of dropped pretty deep, deeper of the two. But then again, that's kind of normal with Virgil van Dijk there. And then you can see that was what was confusing me quite a lot in the game, because you guys can see you've got Diaz and Jota, they were kind of occupying the same kind of spaces. And then Salah was just left with this massive gap. Whether that's just by design, because then it allows for someone like Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, potentially even Trent, when he, moves into that kind of inverted, when he tries to, because there were times when he was, pushing up and pushing into the middle of the park, it leaves that space for them. And then we can double up when we do get the ball in those attacking thirds. Potentially, again, I don't know what would have been the reasoning behind it, and I think maybe I need a bit more evidence in future games to maybe understand it a bit more. But that's just me thinking, off the top of my head. And there was 3 players I wanted to kind of take a look at. 3 players. I picked one defender, midfielder, and attacker that I wanted to talk about, and then of course we will get into my ratings. Just before that, you can see here obviously the duels that we had in the game. Like I said, I just felt like we were dispossessed 9 times in the game. If I'm being totally honest with you, possession wise, looking a bit shaky. Considering we're supposed to be a team who want to have quite a bit of possession. Found that very, very interesting. But yeah, you can see here. It's again interesting, very, very interesting. Aerial duels, we were winning quite a few of those, having a lot of those to be fair. Ground duels, again, so they won on the ground duels, we won on the aerial duels. So again, this is where, and considering we're trying to almost be a team, want to put the ball down and play, that might need to be fixed potentially. Again, who am I to realistically say? But the 3 players I want to talk about. So the first one was Andrew Robertson. Again, I'll give my rating on him when we go through the ratings. But for me, I didn't feel like he was that good. I feel like, again, build-up play. Again, this is why I really wanted to get someone else in at left back. I do think that Liverpool do really need to upgrade in that area. I just don't think he looks comfortable, in my personal opinion. He looked more comfortable when we were trying to play the Jurgen Klopp tactics in that second half at times. That's when he looked a bit comfortable. Get the ball forward as fast as possible. Robertson's there. Get the ball forward. Just try and get the ball forward. That's what Robertson's really good at. And it felt like he felt more comfortable doing that in the first half. And, for quite a lot of that second half, before he obviously got taken off for Tsimikas, I just felt like when we're trying to build up at times, it just wasn't, in my personal opinion, with Robbo there, it just wasn't really working. But hey ho, it is what it is. Gravenberch, obviously him playing in the six. That's why I wanted to kind of highlight him. I felt first half just like the rest of them, so I'm not gonna single him out, so to speak. But just like the rest of the midfield, he was poor. Second half, I felt kept it simple, kept it nice. A few little nice runs and stuff like that, popping it off, but he just kept it simple. Nothing extravagant, nothing over the top, wasn't amazing. Just kept it really nice and simple, which was good to see in that second half. Which obviously then helps us in that build-up play, because that's what we were lacking quite severely, I feel, in that first half. So for him to be able to do that, in the second half, I think it helped. And then, of course, Salah, obviously Liverpool's best attacker. Like I said, nothing happens in that attacking third without him being there. And yeah, like I say, man, it is quite scary to see that, the sheer fact that, without him there, we don't look that threatening. If I'm being totally honest with you, it does look a little bit like, we may need to potentially take a look at that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But again, it's only the first game. So, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get onto these guys, too much. But let's go through my player ratings. So we've got Ali. Yeah, I felt like, I'll even take a look now. Yeah, I felt like Ali was calm. I don't think he did anything, would I say, necessarily wrong, so to speak. There wasn't like I looked at him and thought, oh my goodness, Ali, you've been absolutely atrocious, kind of thing. So yeah, I'll probably say he was like above average. So I'll give him made a couple of good saves as well. Passing was, from what I could see, was okay, but 41 out of 48. Maybe 7. Maybe I can give him a 7, actually. He got a clean sheet as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold. I felt like first half, actually, first half he wasn't even too bad, actually. Like he wasn't like the worst one in that half, most definitely. Passing was a little bit wayward though. These Hollywood balls that man's always tried. But man tried 14 long passes and only achieved 5. That's crazy. But he made 4 key passes in the game. Created 2 big chances. I'll probably give him a 7 as well. Give him a 7? Yeah, I'll probably give him a 7. Give him a 7. Who else have we got? Let's move this out of the way. Jarrell Kwanzaa. Now, Kwanzaa is actually mad interesting because obviously he took him off at half time for Konate. And again, I don't feel like he was like super dead. Like I didn't look at Jarrell Kwanzaa and think, oh, yo, he was trash. But he was losing a bit of jewels at times. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like I think, and obviously Slot alluded to that being one of the reasons as to why we weren't so good in that first half, which then helps towards our build-up play, is because we're losing quite a lot of jewels, in there. But it wasn't when I'm thinking of jewels, it wasn't just him though. Obviously, he's thinking more like Delap and all the players in and around him, like Amari Hutchinson. I said before the game, he'd be a player to definitely watch out for. And obviously Burns, but I thought Burns was really good. But we'll talk about him with Robbo in a second. So yeah, I took him off half time. Before that, I'll give him a 6 because I did feel like he was kind of above average. I don't think he just had like an average performance. No, actually not. 5.5. 5.5. We'll give him that. Virgil van Dijk. Virgil. Virgil, he was all right. Just trying to think, like, yeah, he was all right. I'm just trying to see, like, looking at his stats, because performance-wise, I think I'd give Virgil like a 6.5. Again, I think I've said this 100 times when it comes to Virgil. There's something about the way he marshals defenses that I just do not like. But I think it's just more of a personal preference in terms of what I actually like. I don't know what it is, but he just doesn't do it the way that I want it to be done. I don't know. Like I just feel like our defense just always looks disjointed, and you're supposed to be like the leader. But even there was a time when I remember there was a ball that went, it was offside in the end, but there was a ball that went over the top, and I can't remember who was it who ran, one of the Ipswich attackers who ran on goal. It might have been the Black brother who come on in the second half. But anyways, it's like the striker ran like in between Kanate and Van Dijk, but Van Dijk obviously he got caught offside, and Van Dijk had already pushed up, but then Kanate was chilling, and I was just like, okay, fairs, but Trent was a little bit deep as well, and I think Robert was still back there. Van Dijk was the furthest forward, and the rest were just like a little bit behind him, kind of thing. And I was just thinking, I don't know, like, are you telling people to go? Like, I don't know, like, sometimes it just seems weird. It just honestly seems weird, man. But anyways, listen, he wasn't poor. Robertson, you see Burns, yeah. Nah, Robertson's getting a. Robertson, I don't know, it's either 5 or 4.5, because I thought like this brother was like super average, bro. Like I like, it's hard to even explain it, yeah. But I just felt like he was just a problem, and he was getting caused issues down that flank as well. I'm giving him 4.5, man. I'm giving him 4.5. I feel like he was below average still. Gravers, first half, as I said, poor. Second half was good. So if I say his first half was a 4, his second half was like a 7 to 7.5. So what's that, like a 6.5? Yeah, maybe like 6.5. I just feel like he just kept it like super simple. Like I said, like, and this is why it's always good, yeah, to sometimes wait to do these reactions, because I feel like people always go over the top with this stuff. And obviously I was expecting that when I watched the game. I was thinking, right, okay, I'm expecting Gravers to be doing like the Manders, like Rodri, and I was like, nah, he definitely wasn't doing that. So yeah, 6.5. That one could be. I'll leave it at 6.5 just for the benefit of the doubt, innit? We'll go with Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai again. First half poor, second half again. You know what? Just like Gravenberch, actually, I'll give him a 6.5. I felt like they were the same. I felt like he had as much impact as Gravenberch in his role. You know, he was kind of everywhere. He was all about finding pockets of spaces as well. Yeah. I think just trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, 6.5. I think that's fair. McAllister, again, first half and second half, I felt like he was finding better pockets of spaces when he was a bit further up the field in the second half. But I don't think he was as good as Gravenberch or Szoboszlai, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll give him a 5.5. Because the first half was so poor, yeah, and the second half wasn't even all that. Salah. Salah, like I said, Liverpool's only real threat, to be honest with you, in the attacking third, caused problems to their left back all game. Left back, like I said, left back was shook. Got himself a goal, got himself an assist. Some of the passes he was playing, and I think it was just, without him there, I just felt like nothing was going to happen at all without him being there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? First half, again, like everybody else, I thought it was like, again, he falls into the Trent category where I'm like, they weren't even bad. Like, yeah, I mean, they were the better players anyway in that first half. Trent and definitely Trent and Mo Salah down that right-hand side. I didn't feel like they were too much of an issue. What did we give Trent? We gave Trent a 7. So maybe I'll give Mo get 7.5. Call it bias. I don't really care, to be honest. Why are you turning it to a 6, bro? Okay, look, it's all trying to conspire against me. Look at that. Hold on, you let me do 0.5. There we go. Diogo Jota got himself a goal, but I did feel like he was finding it difficult to really get into the game. if I'm being honest, both in the first and second half. Obviously, was trying to find pockets of spaces at times, was trying to be somewhat of a nuisance, missed a clear chance. I'm sorry, but if that was Nunes, we'd all be cussing you. Like, we would, honestly, we'd be going mad. We'd actually be going mad. So, yeah, I think he gets because he got the goal. I'll give him a 6. Yeah, I give him a 6. I give him a 6. I don't think it was 6. Yeah, 6.5 drops. Yeah, 6. Yeah, 6. We're back with the harsh ratings again, man. We're back with the harsh ratings. Luis Diaz does a lot but doesn't do enough. It's like he does a lot, but then it's a lot of nothing. That's his problem. But performance-wise, I can see he's trying though. That's what I will say. I can see he is trying. Performance-wise, I'll give him a 6 as well, man. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6. Yeah, I mean, let's change that goal score. Don't they do so I thought they did like assists. But anyways, as you can see, obviously that's my rating. So we've got Alisson with 7, Trent on 7, Kwanzaa 5.5, Van Dijk 6.5, Robbo with 4.5, Gravenberch 6.5, I was about to call him Hendo, Szoboszlai 6.5, Alexis McAllister with 5.5, Salah with 7.5, Diogo Jota with 6, and Luis Diaz with 6. That makes Mo Salah my man of the match. Rightly so. Rightly so. I think for me, best player on the pitch. Like I said, without him there, nothing was going on. Nothing was popping from what I could see anyway. Bench players, I don't really care about the bench players, man. You know what, actually, maybe Konate, because he played a full 45. Konate helped in that second half for what I will say about him, actually. Konate did help because of the whole Jules thing. And then also it allowed Trent to be a bit more freer as well, having someone like Konate next to him. But again, this is what I say about reverting back to what we already used to do. So, interesting. But let's say Konate 6. We'll give Konate a 6. We'll give Konate a 6, man. But yeah, that's my ratings for the game in itself. Let me know what your ratings are for this match, please, as per usual. Like I said, I was going to do this and as a live, but I just said, you know what, everything was kind of stuck in my head now. So I said it's probably better if I can just get all my thoughts and feelings out now, and then I can, you know, drop this, and then you guys can just let me know what you think, and then next week we can take a real look at certain players, certain positions. Maybe in the next couple of days certain things would have potentially have changed and stuff like that. Maybe the Gomez news might start to pick up, and then we'll probably take a little bit of a deeper look at some of the players, especially in the lead up to, you know, our game against Brentford at Anfield. But as I say, people, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Make sure you are smashing that like if you have watched until the end of this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.